Hey, what's up, guys? I just got done, finally, after about a month of the game being out, finishing Ghost of Tsushima. Hopefully you can tell just from the background. Couldn't find a good transparent title thing, which I normally put. But, what a game, guys. What an absolute game. Sucker Punch nailed this game out of the park. By far and away, so far at this point in August of 2020, this is the best game released in 2020. In my opinion, of course. We still have about a third left of the year, so we'll see. But game is a ride. If you have a PlayStation 4, you need to play this game. This is a phenomenal farewell type game of the current generation moving into the next gen. This game was just truly incredible, from the story, the characters, the combat, the environments, the cinematography, the sound design. The game is practically flawless in so many areas. And enjoyable, it's just fun to play, it's fun to watch. So let's kind of go down the biggest points in this game. I think the best. This game is a beautiful game, visually stunning. I think across the board everyone can agree that this game just looks phenomenal. For me, next would be the relations between the characters and how real and human they are, specifically between Jin and Shimura, his uncle. And I think, you know, that's a huge point with the game, especially towards the end of the game. But then there's also the things with Jin and Yuna, and the other characters. We have other primary characters, Ishikawa Sensei. With Masako Adachi, Kenji. Do we ever know Kenji's last name? I don't know. And Norio, the fighting monk, the monk warrior, and it's just fantastic. And the overall story. I mean, I guess the overall story, if you think about it, is kind of generic. Mongols invading. Here come the invading forces. Stop the invading forces. The end. Pretty much. But it's done so well. The open world, I think it takes the standard Ubisoft open world stuff from Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and it perfects it. But it's still that same type of formula, I think, of here's a bunch of areas, here's a massive area, go explore, go cleanse the land, go find things, go do this. But it does it in a way that is very organic. It feels very natural. It feels lived in. It feels like it's real. And so it's very, very enjoyable. I really, really enjoyed it. And if we're talking like combat, oh my god. The combat in this game is extremely satisfying, especially the more powerful you get, the more skills you learn. I will say that for my playstyle, there were certain things that I just never did, but other people, I'm sure, use them extensively, and I'm sure they were very well done and thought out. I mean, I did try everything, but there was definitely certain things that I used a lot more than others. The combat was phenomenal. The fact that there was actually gear that mattered, there was a massive tree of skills and things. It was very deep. One thing I will say when it comes to the combat is that the stances were maybe not necessarily as fleshed out as it could have been, or as useful as it could have been. There's 4 stances in the game. There's the standard stone stance, which is what you start with in the game. Then you get water stance, which is supposed to be used against shield guys. Wind stance against spear guys, and moon stance against the big brutes. I pretty much only ever used water stance and stone stance, and that's it. And I reached a point where I even stopped using water stance, and I was pretty much in stone stance 100% of the time. So it did feel a little, I guess, but, you know, maybe it was just because it was the way that I was playing the game. I do want to talk about a couple things that I did find as maybe a little detrimental. Maybe it's just my own thing, but personally, I didn't like the fact that the game that they chose to do this weird soft lock-on system in the game that's kind of based on where you're kind of pointing the left control stick, but it's soft. So there's no hard lock on. There's no reticule that's like telling you this is the target that you're focused on and which all your attacks are going to focus. But there is kind of a soft lock on. If you kind of aim the camera that way, it'll focus that guy. Turn the camera against that guy, it'll kind of just focus that guy. But then you run into the issue if there's like 3 guys right in front of you. Sometimes it can be difficult to target the guy in front of you because the camera's soft locking onto the guy maybe in the back because it's still in that same row. I would have preferred, if they're going to go that route of no hard lock on, just no lock on of any kind whatsoever. Except maybe in the duels. But then even in the duels, I was having a lot of issue because there's the soft lock on during the duels that for some reason, sometimes the character, you're fighting, okay, that's cool, and then for some reason my character just decides to swing backwards and turn around, and then I get stabbed in the back and attacked. I'm like, not sure about that. Because in the duels, it's different. It's not a regular, it's not fighting regular. You can only use samurai stuff. You can't use any of the ghost skills at all. The camera angles are a little bit different. So I don't know. I would have preferred it much more if they did it one way or the others. It did cause a lot of frustration for me, I will say, in some instances, for sure. But it's really my only complaint, and let's be real, there is no third-person action game, or third-person game in general, that doesn't have camera issues. Every single game created in third person has camera issues. It's just going to be a thing. It always will. The camera pans around. I mean, if there's a structure behind you, it's going to kind of do some weird zoom things so you're still looking behind your character rather than at a wall. And it's always going to cause problems, which is one reason why I've always preferred first-person games, but then first-person has its own issues of field of view and peripheral vision and all this other stuff. Anyways, that's kind of beside the point. Ghost of Tsushima is a phenomenal game. Top to bottom, absolutely stunning and incredible. I just wish I could have played it on a PC, or even if this was a launch title for the PS5, so it could have 60 or higher FPS. Definitely, I don't know if it's because I have poor vision and I wear glasses or what it is, but when I play games under 60, I can tell immediately if it's under 60 FPS, and it does bother me. I actually start to get a headache. Maybe it's just me. I know, like, I have one of my best friends talks about all the time that, oh yeah, anything under 60, no, it doesn't matter as long as it's stable. He says 30 FPS or less is still completely fine. But then he also plays games with motion blur on. I will puke if I'm playing games with motion blur. Not literally, but sometimes close. But yeah, that's it, man. Ghost of Tsushima. If you got a PlayStation, play this game. Absolute loved it. It is top-notch quality. Anyways, guys, I will see you next time for the next game in 100 years when I finish another game. Kidding. For my next small thoughts review on a game. Alright, guys. Peace.